Hello, and welcome to the Time Traveler's Guide to the Early Republic. Despite a difference of nearly 250 years, understanding the early United States isn't out of reach. Let's start by having a look at the Centinel. Gettysburg may be a big city today, but in 1805 it was still a small rural community with only one newspaper. That newspaper was the Centinel, and it covered everything from mundane local events to national news. Money was a different issue altogether. Though goods were still bought and traded, many things could be made by the individual. And though we might look at the cost of things at the time and think they're pretty cheap, one has to remember the very drastic effect of inflation. At least taxes are consistently high, though. Now, it's important to note that newspapers of the time didn't try to hide their bias. Reading the paper could feel a bit like listening to a long-winded sermon, depending on your personal politics. And slavery, while not legal in every state, was commonplace and a comfortable enough topic that ads were posted regarding runaway slaves. That helps bring things into perspective when it comes to how Gettysburg voted. People tend to vote for those whose politics align with their own, so in a very real sense, it should be easy to predict who they'll end up voting for. In the case of Gettysburg, they really didn't care for the Federalists. Which, of course, means there's going to be some very hurtful words thrown around. Indeed, reading any newspaper of the time is sure to come with personal attacks here and there. Someone is always trying to destroy the Commonwealth, or a buffoon, or what have you. And there's always going to be some self-righteousness peppered in for good fun. What's the point of a good personal attack, if not to build yourself up while tearing your opponent down? World affairs were certainly no different in that matter. People were looking at the threats by the British, French, and Spanish, and trying to decide what kind of people they wanted to be. How much democracy was too much democracy? Looking at France would be a clear indication either way. There would be those who balked at the idea, and others who would be busy sharpening the blade of the guillotine. And unfortunately, things haven't changed as much as we like to think since then. It's disturbingly easy to draw parallels between current and past events, despite the 240-plus year difference. The press still can't catch a break, and it's still impossible to convince conspiracy theorists they're wrong. Or maybe that's just what they want us to think. Still, at least that means there will always be some levity in the world. True, we might not all have horses and cattle go missing, but who hasn't misplaced their money once or twice? Remember, it's important to understand the world for what it is, but it's even more important to be able to laugh at the sheer absurdity of it.